Hello, I am Marco, a language teacher and researcher, and today I'm going to talk about the Spanish new generations. This film here, it's a bit different to the other ones I have done before. It's more personal. It's just to say, oh, I'm getting older. I'm getting old and old. Because, when I left Spain in 2017, 6 years ago, my culture, my interests, they were in line with the one of my students. My students and me were not so different. So we have similar interests, similar way of thinking about life. Yep. But I haven't come back to Spain for life since then. I've been in Spain several times for holidays. I spent some months during the pandemic, but I couldn't say that I properly lived into the Spanish society since 2017. And when I came there, I realized that there were big differences, generational differences, among people being under 25 more or less, and my generation, my friends, so on. So basically, I realized that I am not young anymore, and I realized that there are very interesting change in the Spanish society. Today, I would like to talk specifically about the leisure on young people, and specifically about two hot spots: the new music, trap music, and the Kings League, the new football. So what is trap music? Trap music is a kind of music that emerged in the States, in the south of the States in the 90s. It mixes different styles, rap, hip-hop, dubstep. I'm not an expert on that, honestly. I'm just saying the basics. In the Spanish case, the Spanish trap has some specificities. It's not exactly the same as the American trap. It adds some Latin elements, some Latin music elements, and also the singers use a lot auto-tune. I mean, they modify their voices with electronic tools. I would say that the main difference, you have a picture with a typical aesthetics of trappers or trap singers. I don't know how to call them. And I forgot to say that their lyrics are very explicit. They talk about hard sex, drugs, hard violence. Well, that's nothing new, okay? We focus on the previous musical style in the Latin community, reggaeton, also drugs, sex, and violence. They try to do it harder and harder, but honestly, it's very difficult because everything is done about that. But the main difference here, I would say, is the individualism. Okay, if you focus in the music styles before and the music performances before, we have bands, we have groups of people doing Latin music or pop music or rock music. Even a solo singer has an orchestra behind. Now here we only have one composer and basically his computer, and with that he does everything. He's not with his friend, he's not agreeing with anyone to find the sounds. No, everything done by themselves. And even the concerts, there's quite strange, because you can see a guy with a laptop and some electronic machines, tools, so on, doing the music with auto-tune, and then the audience, the young people listening to the music, that's all, they don't dance. It's a bit strange. That I would say that's the main difference. But in general about trap, let me tell something that probably many people will not agree, is that I find a lot of similarities between trap music and Zaragoza's rap music in the 90s. Zaragoza is my city. Zaragoza has had before a military base, an American military base, so the city had a lot of American influence in its culture. We have American radios, a lot of American people, young people, and they brought their styles, rap, hip-hop, and even, I would say, maybe some kind of trap at that time in the 90s. So local people, local young people, they started doing this kind of music. And when I see Zaragoza's rap singers in the 90s and these trappers, I say, honestly, they sound very, very similar. So it's not so new, but this is just an anecdote. The second thing I would like to talk about is the Kings League. The Kings League is a kind of football tournament organized by Gerard Piqué, very popular in these days, this year, and the main Spanish YouTubers. So why is this so new? Basically because it's not traditional football, it's short in time, it has some random abilities, some random characteristics, so it's more like they try to make it more to make it faster and more funny. And okay, But why is this so important? Basically because it points one of the main characteristics of the Spanish society nowadays. Football is not as popular as before, especially for young people. Football is not interesting anymore, and it was not like in the past. It's a long time, 2 hours, it stops a lot, they don't find it funny, they need something more enthusiastic and exciting. Even Florentino Perez, the president of Real Madrid, Javier Tebas, the president of the Spanish League, they admitted that, of the Spanish Federation, they admitted that. And the president, the different people there in the Spanish football, they admit that football is less and less popular in Spain nowadays, contrary to the rest of the world. It's very interesting that when I am here in Vietnam, when I was in the Philippines, everybody asked me about football. And I know the basics. I'm not fond of football, but I know the basics. But I tell them nowadays, you know that you guys, 23 years old, 24 years old, if you go to Spain and you meet a guy of your age there, probably he will not be interested in football, or at least not as interested in football as you. It's really characteristic. Football actually is being a product for the international market more than for the Spanish market itself. Time goes by, and it does for everybody. Some years ago, I thought I was in line with my students, similar interests, similar ideas, similar ways of leisure. I have realized during the last 5-6 years that that is not longer the case. The new generation, the new people, they have different ways of thinking, different ideas, different tastes. But all this process of generations of human evolution, social evolution, is nothing new.